She lets homeless Felon work for a day. 2 weeks later, gets strange phone call. Abby couldn't believe it. This had to have been some kind of cruel joke. She thought she was giving someone a second chance, letting him work at her restaurant. But then she got a phone call. He had been at the restaurant not an hour ago, and she still felt shivers after what she heard about him on the call. She had no idea who this man was or what he was capable of. For the last 5 years, Abby Smith was happy working at her very own restaurant. She put so much time and money into it, so it gave her satisfaction to watch it grow into something special. But she was unaware of what was going to happen when a homeless man came walking through the door one Monday morning. Abby had 10 years of experience in the hospitality business. She knew how long the hours could be or how rude the customers were. It's why she decided to open her own place. It was her dream. Abby felt that she had seen everything in all her years in the business, but she couldn't have prepared herself for one particular Monday morning. After a nice weekend, it was time to wake up at 5 a.m. on a Monday morning and the start to a new week at the restaurant. She rolled out of bed and showered. She hoped it would be a normal, quiet Monday. She was very wrong. She got to work and unlocked the doors. She cleaned off the counters and started preparing the food. Then she opened the doors and the restaurant. She looked at the doors as a homeless man walked in. She didn't mind occasionally helping someone out in need, but things would be different today. "Excuse me," the homeless man said, his voice quiet. "I'm Ricky. Do you have any spare change?" Abby looked at the homeless man and saw sadness in his eyes. "Do you not have a job?" Abby bluntly asked. Ricky was taken aback by what she said. "No, I don't," he replied, avoiding eye contact with Abby. "I have a lot of felonies, so nobody wants to hire me." Despite this revelation, Abby replied something unimaginable. For a while now, Abby had seen the homeless man, Ricky, lingering outside and throughout the neighborhood. She never saw him get into any trouble, though. It seemed he kept himself to himself. So when Ricky came into Abby's restaurant and asked her for some change, not even Ricky could have expected her answer. Abby knew she could use some helping hands in her restaurant, so she offered Ricky a job. His face and eyes lit up like a child at Christmas. She offered him to work the entire day washing dishes and tidying up. Ricky got to work straight away, and for lunch, Abby made him a sandwich. But when she handed it to him, he snatched it from her hands, and as quick as a cheetah, he darted out the restaurant. Abby's heart dropped as soon as she saw Ricky run out the door, so she chased after him. But around the corner, she saw he had given the sandwich to another homeless person. He soon made his back to the restaurant, and Abby's heart warmed at his kind gesture, but she had no idea what was coming. Throughout the day, Abby tried to get as much information as she could about Ricky and his life and past. He told her he was from Puerto Rico, but apart from that, he was quiet and seemed hesitant to open up. What was he hiding? With the restaurant not bringing in enough money, Abby knew she couldn't keep Ricky on permanently. Times were hard, and Abby was struggling to get by as it is. So at the end of the day, Abby said goodbye to Ricky. She thought it would be the last time she would see him, but she was wrong. However, the day after, and for the following 2 weeks, Ricky appeared at the restaurant, ready to start his shift. Like clockwork, he appeared at the door, his smile beaming through the glass. Abby finally paid him, but what he did next left her lost for words. You see, as soon as Ricky received his pay, he went and brought a sandwich from Abby's restaurant, and of course, she gave him a staff discount. She bid him farewell and began to close up for the day. She considered keeping him on permanent, making cuts somewhere in the business, but then just as Ricky left, Abby received a phone call that changed everything. Abby was closing up what seemed like a never-ending day when her phone rang. She picked it up, but she didn't recognize the number. With hesitation, she answered the call. She had no idea what was coming. "Do you know Ricky?" a deep, stern voice asked. Abby's heart quickened. Who was this person calling? "It's the police," the voice said. "We have some information about him that we think you ought to know." With fear in her stomach, she asked the police to tell her everything they knew about Ricky. But she couldn't have expected the answer, not in a million years. The police claimed that they had encountered Ricky numerous times out and about in the town. So they decided to do a little research. They found that Ricky was from Puerto Rico, and he came to the USA in hopes of becoming an actor. However, he soon ran out of money and became homeless. But what the police said next left Abby feeling sick to her stomach. "Bring him in tomorrow," they said. "Make sure he's at your restaurant. We want to see him," the police officer demanded. An uneasy feeling crept up Abby's spine. Why did they want to see him? Was he in trouble? With hesitation, she agreed, but she had no idea what the police were up to. The following day, Abby arrived at work feeling uncertain about what was ahead. Like clockwork, Ricky appeared at the front door. As soon as she saw him, Abby wanted to tell him about the police, but her gut told her not to. She was going to wish she had told him. As soon as Ricky arrived at the restaurant, he had a smile slapped on his face. He started to clean down the sides, but then his smile turned upside down as soon as he saw two police officers walk in the door. Their eyes were looking straight at Ricky. Ricky quickly tried to leave the restaurant, but the two police officers stopped him. They weren't having any of it. "Don't worry," they said, blocking the exit. But Ricky had every right to be worried when it came to police officers. You see, 4 years ago, after failing to make it as an actor and burning through whatever cash he had left, Ricky ended up being homeless. He was well aware that the cops could sometimes be the bad guys, so he made sure to stay as far away from them as possible. But Ricky had no idea what these two police officers were going to do to him. "Come with us now," they said, while leading Ricky outside and into their cop car. Meanwhile, Abby looked out the window feeling sick to her stomach, watching Ricky get forced into the car. What had she done? Had she made a huge mistake? In a couple of hours, all would be revealed, and it would leave Abby dropping to her knees. 2 hours passed, and Abby was on the edge of her seat, waiting to hear back from Ricky or the police officers. Thankfully, it had been a busy morning, but it was soon the afternoon, and she still hadn't heard anything. Then, as the clock struck 4:30 p.m., Abby saw somebody walk in the door, and she was lost for words. You see, Ricky walked into the restaurant, but he looked completely different. The cops had taken Ricky to a hair salon and paid for a haircut for him. They also kitted him out in new clothes. But the police officer's act of kindness didn't end there. The cops had even managed to get in touch with Ricky's mom, who was back in Puerto Rico. The two reunited over video chat for the first time in 4 years. Ricky was so thankful to the cops and to Abby for helping him out when he needed it so badly.